Have you ever poured your time, attention, and energy into a man, only to watch him drift away, his interest waning until you feel like just one of many? The frustration is agonizing. The more you try, the more he recedes, leaving you confused and powerless. Perhaps you've tried everything, being the perfect girlfriend, the passionate lover, the understanding partner. You gave him second, third, even 10th chances, rationalizing his coldness, elevating his meager gestures into grand feasts, yet nothing stuck. He remains that exasperating enigma, seemingly on the verge of commitment, but never quite there. Today, we're going to reveal a stark truth, one that will fundamentally shift your understanding of attraction and forever change your dynamic with men. This truth lies in the male ego. This sensitive yet potent entity doesn't respond to sweet words or desperate efforts. It instinctively reacts to the feelings you evoke within it. When you know precisely how and where to touch these emotional chords, when you grasp his deeper psychology, you can radically transform his perception of you. You can make him crave you with a force that will surprise even him, make him think of you day and night, pursue you with a persistence that will consume him, all without taking a single step toward him. This isn't about cheap, selfish manipulation. It's about understanding the male mind from a position of strength and psychological depth, and applying that knowledge to your advantage with the calmness, presence, and emotional strategy of a truly confident woman. A man's ego operates on a different system than a woman's. While women yearn for admiration and respect for their accomplishments, men deep down crave to be unique, indispensable, and chosen. They desire selective attention, constant validation of their appeal and power, and often emotional control over the relationship. Inside, there's a small boy yearning for recognition, encased in the seemingly confident adult. Every gesture of admiration feeds him. Every hint of your need inflates his ego further. This is precisely why the game loses its allure when a woman reacts predictably, when he knows exactly how she'll respond to his behavior. But within this apparent strength lies his Achilles heel and your greatest strategic opportunity. This is a secret few know, and even fewer apply. If, with the wisdom of a confident woman, you interrupt this constant stream of validation he expects, validation most women hand to him on a silver platter, if you cease to be a predictable source of admiration and security, you leave him in an emotional vacuum. This void, this sudden absence of your affirming mirror, awakens something incredible within him, an acute need to reassert himself through you, to reclaim that special feeling you subtly withdrew. This is where the spark of obsession ignites. Every time you chase him after he pulls away, every time you over-explain, beg for a chance, or desperately prove how much he means to you, you're only inflating his ego further. And an inflated ego, mark my words, does not love. It only holds power over your submission. It's like emotional cocaine. He becomes addicted to the feeling of superiority but never truly satisfied. He'll always want more, but he'll never respect you more. In fact, the more you feed this self-centered beast, the less he will value you, as you've shown you're willing to humble yourself for him. You must learn to break this dynamic and create a new one where you are the unattainable prize, where he constantly questions if he still matters to you, if he still holds any sway over you. How do you achieve this? How do you shift from pursuer to pursued? Through three potent psychological tools: emotional scarcity, selective silence, and strategic detachment. Men, contrary to what you've been led to believe, aren't captivated by the bland, predictable stability offered by nice women. They're drawn to emotional intensity, the roller coaster of feelings, the challenge posed by a woman they cannot fully comprehend or control. Think about it. How often have you seen a man chase after a woman who treats him poorly, while ignoring another who would give him the world? This isn't masochism. His primitive brain associates difficulty with value. What comes too easily can't be all that valuable. That's how his subconscious works. I'm not advocating for toxic behavior or manufactured drama. I'm talking about emotional unpredictability, intentionally applied to disrupt his expectations. If every time he pulls away or acts cold, you respond with more neediness or pleas, he'll only lose more interest or gain complete control. But if in the moment he emotionally withdraws, you calmly and resolutely step back, showing that your life doesn't revolve around him, without explanations or drama, then he falls into a quiet but powerful emotional crisis. And this, my dear, is where the obsession begins. What did I do? Does she no longer care? Has she replaced me? His mind, accustomed to emotional control, becomes utterly unbalanced. It's as if you've secretly changed the rules of the game, and now he no longer knows how to win. Every man wants to feel desired. It's a deep-seated need. But no man wants to feel that you are his property by default. The paradoxical truth is, the more secure you make him feel with you, the less attractive you become to him. The more secure he feels with you, the less he invests in the relationship. This is a vicious cycle that can only be broken by realizing that power in a relationship isn't begged for. It's radiated. So how do you navigate this delicate yet explosive balance? By showing interest that is limited and measured. Yes, let him know he fascinates you, but never convey that you need him or that he's the center of your universe. Break contact precisely when he expects more. In the middle of a great conversation, when the connection is strong. Be the first to end a conversation or leave. Leave him wanting more. This is a brilliant strike at his ego and his need to maintain control. Don't give him the power to define the dynamic of your interactions. You set the pace. You decide when you're available. Consider this scenario. He sends you an ambiguous message. One of those texts that could mean anything, perhaps just to test your reaction. The average woman responds with insecurity, seeking explanations, demanding clarity. The confident woman, however, detaches. She might leave the message unanswered for a long time, or reply briefly, neutrally, with no hint of need. Not out of childish pride, but from a place of emotional strength. This reaction, or rather its absence, shatters his entire strategy. He expected your fear, but received indifference. He hoped you'd bite, but you didn't even notice the bait. And this utterly confounds him because it means he doesn't have the power over you he believed he possessed. Your silence, this deliberately controlled silence, is one of the most powerful and disruptive weapons you can wield. Want him to think about you constantly? Then be silent precisely when he expects you to speak. Offer no explanations when he hopes for them. Don't seek validation if he doesn't give it. Simply withdraw calmly and with dignity, leaving him in profound confusion. Silence holds a power that words can never convey. When he's accustomed to your constant voice, your explanations, your predictable presence, your sudden disappearance creates a deafening void. And in that void, his mind fills with questions, doubts, and ultimately obsession. This feeling of insecurity, not provoked by him but intentionally crafted by you, disrupts his power dynamic. It throws him off balance. It compels him to re-establish an emotional connection with you. Because suddenly, with a sharp pang to his ego, he senses he might lose you without any visible reason. And this very feeling of imminent and inexplicable loss can shatter him internally, emotionally. It keeps him thinking about you constantly. And paradoxically, he begins to desire you more than ever before. A man can resist 1,000 logical arguments, ignore 100 declarations of love, but he cannot ignore the weight radiated by a woman with clear emotional direction. A woman who doesn't succumb to his whims, doesn't react to his provocations, doesn't need his approval to feel complete. Your presence should exude absolute self-possession, a powerful silence that speaks louder than 1,000 words, an energy focused primarily on yourself, your mission, your growth, not on him. When a woman moves through life with such unwavering self-assurance, something deeply primitive activates in a man's brain. He instinctively understands he's facing someone truly special, someone who cannot be tamed by ordinary tricks. Remember this well. A man does not become obsessed with a woman who offers him endless, unconditional love, like a servant. He becomes obsessed with a woman who presents an elegant, emotional enigma, a prize he might lose if he doesn't work for it. Every time you try to convince him you're a good woman, that you deserve his attention, that you'd be a wonderful partner, you lose power. You inflate his ego while simultaneously becoming less attractive. It's as if you're saying, "Please value me." And even if you never utter those words aloud, they echo in every desperate gesture. But a man will never truly value what he is begged to value. He only values what he believes he can lose. Respect, admiration, and genuine desire cannot be groveled for. They are provoked by strategic silence, calculated withdrawal, and intentional absence of validation. Let him feel the sharp difference between when he has you, or thinks he has you, and when he no longer does. Let him understand that your life isn't just continuing, but thriving without him. Let him feel the doubt and regret that you might genuinely have lost interest. Even if you, with the wisdom of a confident woman, observe it all from the sidelines and maintain strategic calm. For many women, this might be the hardest part, allowing him to witness your life flourish without him. But this is what will hit him hardest. When he realizes you're not just surviving without him, but prospering, that you shine brighter when you're not in his shadow. Something within him will break, striking his ego in the most effective way, without direct aggression, without harsh words, just your calculated indifference and visible progress. Don't state it with accusations. Show it with undeniable facts. Develop yourself in all areas of your life, physically, mentally, professionally, socially. Let him see, or at least hear, that you're meeting interesting people. No bragging, just genuinely live a full life. Radiate confidence and an irresistible charm so clearly that he realizes there's a sea of possibilities around you. And you're not passively waiting for him to finally appreciate you. Invest in yourself as if you are your most important project. Every day you don't invest in yourself, you're giving an advantage to your old self, the one who craved attention. Your new self must be so captivating, so engaging, so full of her own energy that he cannot help but feel letting you go was the biggest mistake of his life. When a man feels emotionally compared, not because you're comparing him directly, but because he senses he's no longer your only option, no longer the center of your world, that's when his thoughts shift. That's when the burning desire for what he no longer possesses is born. His wounded pride demands restoration, and the ego, once comfortably fed by your constant attention, goes on high alert. An ego in crisis will do anything to reclaim its lost source of affirmation. Any relationship, even the most chaotic, eventually settles into a routine, a predictable choreography. He does something, you react, and the game repeats until it becomes boring or detached. Your task is to disrupt this choreography abruptly and boldly. He acts distant, ignores your messages. Don't respond with fear or pleas. Stay calm and focused on your own life. He sends you veiled messages or tries to make you jealous. Ignore them with an almost insulting elegance, as if they mean nothing to you. He tries to guilt trip or emotionally manipulate you. Don't play along. He uses subtle emotional blackmail. Stay firm without justifying yourself. He only comes to you when it's convenient. Don't be automatically available. When you suddenly break from the usual rhythm, when you stop dancing to his tune, he loses emotional control over the situation. And almost inevitably, he begins to dance to your rhythm, the rhythm you set with your strategic indifference and your inner strength, as if you've secretly taken control of the remote control for your relationship. Now you're the one who decides when there's intimacy and when there's distance, when there's drama and when there's peace. And this shift in power deeply bewilders him. When you finally gain complete control over your emotions and stop craving attention as if it's essential for survival, something magical happens, almost like alchemy. He begins to feel, with a mix of frustration and admiration, that you are the only woman he cannot emotionally control, the one who doesn't fall for his usual tricks. And this drives him crazy because perhaps he's accustomed to dominating or outwitting women. He controls everyone but you, and it's this loss of control that robs him of his inner peace. It creates an overwhelming unease. This unease, this unresolved tension, is precisely what so obsessively binds him to you. You become a mystery he cannot solve, a song he cannot get out of his head, a thought that haunts him before sleep and resurfaces when he wakes. Not because you're dramatic or conflict-prone, but because you are unpredictably calm, strategically absent, and intentionally indifferent. Always remember, a man can resist your most eloquent words, your most logical arguments, but he cannot ignore the emotional vacuum you create with your strategic absence. Your calculated indifference hurts him more than any explanation. Don't punish him with anger. Don't scream your frustration at him. Don't explain your new strategy. That would be tantamount to betraying yourself. Simply disappear strategically from his emotional radar. Work on yourself as if your life depends on it. Because, and this is no exaggeration, in a sense, it truly does. In the course of this process of personal transformation, something extraordinary happens. You don't just become more attractive to him, you become genuinely more attractive to the entire world. Your self-worth no longer hinges on his validation. Your happiness no longer depends on his mood. Your inherent value no longer fluctuates with his level of interest. And if at some point you feel the time is right, or if he genuinely shows renewed interest and serious intentions, you will return stronger, more captivating, and more emotionally detached than ever before. This is the deadly combination that makes him chase you, dream of you, crave you, without even understanding why. Even then, when you're already operating on a completely different level of awareness and power, if you can make a man feel that he cannot control you, that he cannot predict your reactions, that he can never be certain of you, then you activate a deep, almost primitive desire within him, a drive to prove to you that he still matters, perhaps even more than he appears. You become a constant presence in his thoughts, not just another woman on his list. You become his silent obsession, a riddle he cannot give up on, even if he tries to ignore you. This, my dear, is true power. The power of a woman who has mastered her own mind, and with it, emotional dynamics. And here comes the most crucial point. When you reach this level of personal power, when you develop this emotional mastery, then it no longer matters whether he falls in love with you or gets lost in you, because you have found something far more valuable than any man's obsession. Your unwavering strength, your unconditional worth, and your ability to create the life you truly deserve. Remember one vital thing. You don't need to force anything or beg anyone for attention. The real magic, the true power, lies in being emotionally desirable, in being a woman who, with wisdom and strategy, leaves him enough space to feel the potential loss, the absence of your value. This is what automatically triggers his desire. He begins to question his own behavior. He begins to seek you, to need you, and all of this without your slightest visible step towards him. And this genuine desire, born from his own reflection and wounded ego, transforms him into an obsession, a constant craving for your validation, your attention, your presence. Let me reiterate this, because it is crucial that you grasp it. This is not manipulation. This is understanding how the male ego operates, and more broadly, the human ego. It's a decision to no longer feed that ego with your neediness, your submission, and your predictability. This is applied psychology. It is the awareness of emotional patterns and a conscious choice to stop fueling toxic patterns in order to activate healthy dynamics. You won't have to constantly prove your worth. He must deeply feel that he can lose you if he doesn't value you, respect you, invest in your connection. And when he feels that, when his ego feels the blow of your calculated indifference, your strategic silence, your intentionally offered emotional scarcity, then he will begin to seek you with a new persistence, truly value you, become obsessed with you. But by then, you will already be on a completely new level, a level of self-awareness and inner strength where his obsession no longer defines you.